Hi everyone, so I thought I would show you the miniature spooky house that I'm making. This started off as a sort of 3D puzzle thing, and then I've changed it and made it look more spooky. So the first thing I'm doing here is sticking the staircases back in. I had taken them out so I could do the flooring. I used coffee stirrers all broken up in odd different lengths, stuck to the floor to make these floorboards. They're going to be painted, but obviously I wanted to just stick the stairs back in first. I could have done with painting them first, but never mind. Sometimes I don't plan ahead. So what I'm doing is getting my heat gun out because I needed to glue these in place and make sure they stay where they're supposed to be. And there's like these little banister sections which you can see I'm sticking in here. And the last time I showed you a video on this, I made the glass for the windows with thin pieces of UV gel that I just did a few layers and set. I've got to stick some frames on the inside. I haven't got enough bits on at the moment around the house to do all of that, so you'll see I'll do a little bit, but then I've got stuff to finish off. Obviously this is not going to be finished today, but I thought I would show you the progress and what I did so far. So here I'm just using some hot glue just to stick that staircase in position. And then I'm going to do the one at the top. Then once the stairs were in place, it was a case of staining the floor, and for this I used a mixture of washes. So it was washes of acrylic paint, burnt umber and a little dot of black to dull it down. And what I would do is put a little bit on and then add loads of water and spread it all around, because I want it to look quite sort of faded and get the colour to soak into the wood like a wood stain. So it just involves using very thin paint. Then once that was completed, the floors look like this. And obviously this is before I've dirtied them or anything. You can see areas where I've added a little bit of extra black, because I want the floorboards to look like they're rotting and moulding. And then here I'm adding a little frame that I found in my stash of stuff. This is going to have a little picture in it, and it's going to go on the wall. So first of all, I'm just darkening this down with some burnt umber because it was quite pale, as you can see, and I didn't want it that colour. I want everything to look quite sort of dull and dingy in here. And then if you look on the wall in the little room on the left at the bottom, I've stuck a little dead potted plant, some rusted hooks like coat hooks, and a little sort of shelf. I'm using up some stuff from other builds, like other little abandoned projects where I've decided I want to redo them. So here's the little picture I've put in, and it's just a printed picture that came in one of the model making kits that I've mixed up and hacked about to create the abandoned buildings. So what I tend to do is I'll buy like little miniature house kits and use elements from them to create my spooky houses. So here I'm just making it look all dirty and dingy and gross looking. I want it to look like it's got damp. I want it to look like it's just covered in filth. So I'm just adding some washes over the top of brown and black to make it look all gungy and gross. And then I've got to paint the side as well, because that's the side you're going to view as you look into the house. And then I'm going to glue that onto the wall in the second room downstairs. I do have a feeling I've put the staircase in the wrong way round. I'm almost certain I have, but never mind. I'll just pretend it's a weird room, like a weird sort of hallway type room. So as you can see, that little picture's on the wall there. Like so. And then I'm going to dingy up the side of it and around the edges of the painting. I want it to look like moisture's coming through the walls, coming through the ceilings and dripping down and ruining everything and making it look all mouldy and decaying and breaking down. And it's just little thin washes I'm adding at each time. You don't want to just paint solid blocks of colour because it'll just look like you've painted it solid blocks of colour. And then here I'm using my heat gun. It's quite hot, that's why it's smoking. That's the glue that's like sort of vaporizing, and I'm just touching it onto one corner and moving it quickly so I create little cobwebs. Then I added a little shelf. This is a little bent piece of wood from a model making kit. I used this in, there was one of my one of my little wall frames that I did. And here I'm reusing some of the bits that went in that little project because I want to redo that little frame. I wasn't 100% happy with how that particular one turned out. And the little like cans and stuff, they're glue sticks where I've cut the end off the glue stick, and then I've got like a little printed label and I've stuck it over the top and then put a wash over the top to make it look all dingy. This is just a box made out of paper, and then what I've done is put a wash of brown on it to make it look like an old box. And then this is a little book from one of my other house kits, and I've just stuck that in there on the shelf, and then I'm going to paint over the top of it to make it look all dirty and dingy, because at the minute the pages look quite bright and quite white, and so does the box. So this is just a wash of brown, so I'm putting a little bit of brown on in a darker patch. Then I dip my brush in the water and then go over the rest of the box so I can add an uneven colour to the box, because I want it to look quite dingy and quite yucky, and yeah. And that's as far as I've got while I wait for this to dry. Hope you enjoyed the video. More updates coming soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.